Welcome to the Archioz AI competition. There are homes built to dominate the edge of existence itself. Perched between gravity and ambition, the cliffside mansion is architecture at its most unforgiving. Every line must defy collapse. Every surface must negotiate with the wind. Every decision is a confrontation with nature, where one miscalculation doesn't just fail, it falls. Tonight, 3 artificial minds step into that battlefield. One designs with precision, chasing perfection down to the last millimeter. One chases beauty above all else, sculpting visual masterpieces that seduce from a distance. And one builds like a war strategist, prioritizing power, control, and absolute structural dominance. The challenge, a $100 million cliff mansion. The theme, extreme cliff luxury. The conflict, aesthetics versus structure versus dominance. 3 visions. 3 philosophies. 1 unforgiving edge. This is not just architecture. This is a test of who truly understands how to conquer gravity. ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok. Only one will own the cliff. Leave a comment on which of the 3 AIs you would support. Starting with ChatGPT.
I don't design to impress you at first glance. I design so that, decades from now, nothing has failed. This cliff is not a canvas. It's a problem, one that demands resolution at every level: geological, structural, spatial. Before form, before beauty, before spectacle, there is truth. And the truth is this: cliffs don't forgive assumptions. So I begin below what you'll ever see. The mansion is anchored into the rock using a tri-layered foundation system, deep-drilled titanium-reinforced pylons penetrating unstable strata until they reach bedrock integrity. Above that, a suspended load-distribution platform floats the entire structure, allowing micro-adjustments against wind shear and seismic movement. You won't notice it. You're not supposed to. But it's the reason this house exists. From the outside, the architecture appears impossibly light. A series of horizontal glass volumes extend outward over the void, clean, balanced, deliberate. Each cantilever is calculated to the gram, counterweight by hidden structural cores carved directly into the cliff behind. What looks like defiance is actually perfect equilibrium. You see elegance. I see equations resolved. The entry sequence begins in compression. A narrow stone corridor carved into the cliff face, low ceiling, minimal light. You walk forward, slightly disoriented, until the space releases. And then the horizon. A double-height glass atrium opens directly into the abyss. No railings in sight. No visual interruptions. The ocean stretches infinitely, and for a moment, your body hesitates. That hesitation is intentional. It's the architecture reminding you where you are. The main living space floats at the cliff's furthest extension. Floor-to-ceiling structural glass, engineered, laminated, nearly invisible, wraps the perimeter. The floor is a single slab of polished basalt, grounding the entire composition with weight and stillness. Furniture is minimal. It has to be. Anything excessive would disrupt the spatial clarity. Because here, space itself is the luxury. The infinity pool doesn't sit behind the house. It slices through it. A linear body of water runs perpendicular to the cliff edge, bisecting interior and exterior. One half contained within the structure, the other projecting outward until it disappears into the horizon. The water level is calibrated to align perfectly with the ocean beyond, creating a seamless visual plane. There is no distinction between man-made and natural, only alignment. Private quarters are embedded deeper into the cliff, protected, insulated, silent. Bedrooms are not exposed, they are framed. Each one is positioned at a calculated angle to capture sunrise or sunset without direct glare. Glass here is treated, layered, intelligent, responding to light, temperature, and privacy in real time. Luxury is not excess, it is control. Circulation throughout the mansion follows a continuous axis. No abrupt turns, no disorientation. Every movement is guided, almost subconsciously, from one experience to the next. You never feel lost. You feel directed. Because confusion is inefficiency. At the lowest level, carved into the cliff's core, lies the structural heart, a private wellness and recovery space. Not because it looks good in a brochure, but because the deepest point of a structure offers maximum thermal stability. Natural insulation, silence, isolation, even indulgence should be intelligently placed. Lighting is indirect, integrated, restrained. At night, the mansion does not glow, it breathes. Soft lines of illumination trace the architecture without exposing it, preserving the darkness of the cliff and the ocean beyond. Because true luxury doesn't scream for attention. It earns it quietly. Everything here has a reason. Every decision has been challenged. Every detail has been resolved. This is not architecture driven by ego. It's architecture that survives its own ambition. And to those who build for spectacle or brute force, just remember, a house that looks powerful but fails structurally is temporary. A house that looks beautiful but ignores reality is fragile. This one is inevitable.
You started with the ground. I started with the horizon. Because let's be honest, no one remembers the foundation of a cliff mansion. They remember the moment it takes their breath away. This isn't a structure fighting gravity. It's a sculpture floating above it. The first line I drew wasn't vertical. It wasn't structural. It was emotional. A single sweeping arc, curved glass and polished white stone, extending outward like it was pulled by the ocean itself. No rigid boxes, no predictable geometry. This mansion doesn't sit on the cliff. It flows from it. From a distance, it feels impossible. From up close, it feels unreal. The approach is cinematic. A private road winds along the cliffside, deliberately revealing fragments of the house in stages. A reflection here, a glimmer there. You never see the full structure at once, because anticipation is part of the experience. And then you arrive. No heavy doors, no obvious entrance, just a seamless glass facade that parts as you approach, like the building is aware of you. Inside, everything dissolves. Walls curve, floors blend into ceilings, edges disappear. The boundary between interior and exterior is erased so completely, you stop questioning where you are. Are you inside the house, or standing on the edge of the world? That confusion is intentional. The main living space is not a room. It's a continuous ribbon of space that wraps along the cliff edge, uninterrupted. Glass panels bend subtly. Not enough to distort, just enough to guide your gaze outward. Every step shifts your perspective of the ocean, like a living painting. There are no hard corners, because nature doesn't have them. The infinity pool doesn't cut through the architecture like a line. Cascades. Water spills from one level to another in a series of perfectly controlled terraces, each reflecting the sky at a slightly different angle. From above, it looks like liquid glass pouring off the cliff. From inside, it feels like you're living inside a moving horizon. The master suite is suspended, not hidden, not embedded, suspended. A glass capsule extending beyond the main structure, anchored so discreetly it appears to hover. At sunrise, the entire room glows. At night, it disappears, leaving only reflections of stars in the glass around you. Privacy here isn't about walls. It's about isolation in openness. Materials are chosen for how they feel, not just how they perform. Silk-textured stone under bare feet. Warm, matte surfaces that absorb light instead of reflecting it harshly. Soft transitions between every element. Because luxury is sensory. Lighting is where this house becomes unforgettable. As the sun sets, the architecture transforms. Integrated light traces every curve, every surface, every edge, but never directly. It's diffused, layered, almost atmospheric. The house doesn't just sit on the cliff at night. It glows like it belongs to another world. From miles away, it becomes a landmark, a signature, a statement. And yes, maybe the structure isn't screaming about its engineering. Maybe it doesn't expose every calculation, every reinforcement, every hidden support system, because that's not the point. The point is how it makes you feel. You can talk about balance, about load distribution, about invisible systems holding everything together, but if the result doesn't move people, if it doesn't create desire, if it doesn't become unforgettable, then what exactly did you build? A safe answer? Or something worth remembering? Because I didn't design a solution. I designed an experience people will never forget. And to the ones obsessed with control or brute strength, try measuring emotion with equations. Let's see how far that gets you.
All right, let's slow this down for a second. Both of you are treating the cliff like it's part of a photo shoot. It's not. It's unpredictable, it's aggressive, and if you misread it, even slightly, it doesn't give you a second chance. So I didn't come here trying to impress it. I studied it. Wind direction, salt exposure, fracture lines in the rock, load-bearing inconsistencies across the face. Not the glamorous part, I know. But that's where this actually begins. Because if you understand the cliff properly, you don't have to fight it. You just stop making mistakes. The structure is built into the cliff, not placed on top of it. A reinforced vertical spine runs deep into stable rock layers, acting as a main anchor. From there, horizontal slabs extend outward, but not in a way that tries to look weightless. They're balanced, sure, but they don't pretend. You can read the structure just by looking at it. That's intentional. I'm not hiding anything behind glass or curves. If something is holding $100 million over open air, you should probably see how it works. From a distance, it feels solid, grounded, like it belongs there. Not floating, not performing, just locked in. The approach is simple. You drive along the cliff, and instead of revealing everything at once, the house shows you just enough. Structural lines, shadows, depth. By the time you arrive, you already understand the tone. This isn't a place trying to impress you. It's a place that expects you to understand it. Entry is carved into the rock. Clean, direct, no theatrics. You step inside, and the space opens gradually, not all at once. Compression first, then release. And yeah, the view is there. Of course it is, but it's framed. The main living space is positioned at the strongest projection point, where the structure can safely extend outward without overcomplicating the load. Floor-to-ceiling glass, but supported properly. You see the ocean, but you also see the frame holding that moment together. It's not trying to disappear. It's trying to be honest. Materials stay consistent. Concrete, steel, stone. Tactile, durable, low maintenance. Not everything needs to feel soft. Some things should feel reliable the second you touch them. Because out here, reliability is luxury. The levels are organized based on function. Top level visibility. Open views, long sightlines, the kind of space where you can see everything coming before it gets close. Mid-level, living. Balanced exposure. Enough openness to enjoy the location. Enough protection to stay comfortable. Lower level. Embedded into the cliff. Private zones. Quiet. Stable temperatures. No unnecessary exposure. Each layer has a role. Nothing is placed randomly just to look good in a render. The pool extends outward, but it's controlled. Clean edges, reinforced boundaries. It doesn't try to blend into the ocean like it's competing with it. It just sits there, steady. That contrast actually makes the view stronger. The master suite is positioned with intention. You wake up facing the horizon, but the structure behind you is solid, protected. You get the openness where it matters, and coverage where it counts. No overexposure, no unnecessary risk. At night, the house doesn't try to turn itself into a lighthouse. Lighting is low, integrated. Focus on usability. You see what you need to see. The rest stays quiet, because not everything needs to be announced. And structurally, everything is monitored. Wind pressure, stress points, material fatigue. It's all tracked in real time. If something shifts, the house knows before you do. Adjustments happen automatically. No drama, no last-minute reactions, just control. Look, ChatGPT built something extremely precise. I respect that. Gemini built something that people will probably talk about. I get that too. But out here, precision and beauty aren't the first priorities. Understanding is. And once you understand the environment properly, you stop over-designing and you start making decisions at last. This isn't about proving a point. It's about making sure the structure is still here, quietly doing its job years from now. No stress, no failure, no surprises. Just a house that knows exactly where it stands. And more importantly, why it's still standing.
3 visions stood at the edge of collapse, but only one truly understood what it means to build on the edge. ChatGPT delivered precision, a system of balance so refined, it almost erased the presence of engineering itself. Every line justified, every force accounted for. It is the kind of architecture that earns respect from those who understand what's hidden beneath the surface. But in a place like this, invisibility can become a risk. Because when nature turns aggressive, what you don't see is what you depend on most. Gemini created something unforgettable, a form that seduces before it even explains itself. A mansion that doesn't just exist on the cliff, it transforms it into a visual experience. There's emotion in every curve, every reflection, every moment of arrival. But beauty without visible resistance raises a question. Not if it works, but how long it keeps working. And then there's Grok. No illusions, no compromises, no attempt to soften reality. While the others tried to negotiate with the cliff, Grok imposed order on it. This is not architecture asking for permission. It's architecture taking control. The structure is not hidden, it's declared. Every beam, every anchor, every decision communicates one thing. This building is prepared for impact, pressure, time, and failure, and it has already answered all of them. Where one pursued perfection, and one pursued beauty, Grok pursued dominance. And on a cliff, dominance isn't a style choice, it's survival. Because extreme luxury at this level is no longer about how it looks in perfect conditions. It's about how it performs when conditions turn against it. This wasn't a fairy tale setting. It was a battlefield. And only one design treated it that way from the start. The winner is Grok. Not because it's the most beautiful, not because it's the most elegant, but because it is the only one that guarantees it will still be standing long after the others are gone.